All right, so thanks for coming into another video. This is gonna be more on the golf side of things in my quest to shoot lower than 85 by the end of the fall or end of the season this year. So this past Thursday, I had my first golf lesson. I recognized that me doing the same thing over and over and getting marginally better or just getting more consistent with my bad habits isn't getting me the way I want to be. So found a local instructor, had a 45-minute session with the pro, and had a couple of big takeaways from it. So go ahead and get into the core things that that I was instructed on, and then I'm going to put up a before and after clip of a couple different clubs before the lesson and after the lesson. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so first thing I'll go through of kind of what I was instructed. I'm just using the driver because my clubs are in the trunk and this club is currently in the garage. The first thing that I was told was needing to fix my grip. So previously my grip has been kind of left hand on, right hand on, thumbs along the center line of the shaft facing straight down towards the club head face. I'm not sure where it's easy to be seen, but anyways, that's kind of what I was doing. And I was told that I need to adjust my hands so that my hands are in a more normal position. So right now I'm holding my hands basically thumbs forward as opposed to where my arms naturally want to fall, more of thumbs at like a 45 or so degree angle in. So that's where I should be gripping the golf club. And then using my right hand over on top. So basically I have no grip in the palm of my left hand. So that would help me keep the club in my fingertips. So as I come back through and come down, I can actually roll my wrists over to actually get a little bit of snap through the bottom of the swing. So fixing my grip from a non-helpful grip to left hand more over the top, more on my fingertips. That was point one. All right, so the second thing comes more from my stance and address to the ball. So my previous swing, my feet were a little wider than shoulder width apart, my normal athletic basketball, football, baseball athletic position. So from here, I would then kind of rotate back and I would rock onto my the back foot. So as I would do that, my foot comes up and my flip around this way. My left side hip would turn into like a concave C-shaped area. So I wasn't really turning my body and turning my hips. I was just more kind of doing a side bend over. And as I was doing that, basically my hips were already through, my hands were really, really late, the club face was then open, and I would push a lot of shots to the right, which goes perfectly accurate with every time I have a long club in my hand. So the fix from that was, I'll try to do it from both sides, narrowing my stance a little bit, so it's a little bit inside shoulder width, and focusing on keeping my left ball of my foot planted. So instead of rocking back, I'm more focusing on keeping my back foot, so my right ball of the foot planted. So as I start going into my backswing, my hips turn. And that way I'm able to actually get the rotation that I need to help build that tension, and then start leading with my hips, hands follow, getting more club head speed coming through the ball. So after I'm gonna try to go facing the camera for this one. So after I've narrowed my stance up a little bit more, fixed my grip, is more trying to figure out how I was following through. So my instructor gave the analogy, being that I used to play baseball, a throwing versus a batting stance. So what he was meaning by that, and it took me a lot longer to figure it out. So if I'm trying to throw a baseball, I'm throwing, and as I'm getting here, all of my weight is pretty much on my front foot. So I'm still pushing off a little bit, but I'm using that really just to help stabilize myself as I come through. Versus if I'm batting, I'm here, all my weight's kind of on my back foot, and I transfer evenly, and then pivot my hips through as I swing the bat. So on the golf side of things, that's pretty much bad. So I was going from here, and as I was swinging, I was trying to do the same motion where I'm still bent-legged and my toe is fully planted and pinned to the ground. That was not allowing me to get my hips all the way open. So if I'm facing, or my target line is towards the camera, I was effectively finishing like this. So my hips are facing, I don't know, 2 o'clock if the camera's at 12, where I would need to actually be facing at 12 o'clock. So if I narrow my stance up a little bit more, come through, and then now my hips are completely facing my my planned target line. So one of the things that I noticed, and I was helped to try to give as a tracker, is like if I'm just swinging, and you can see my before swings, my foot pretty much stays. I'm gonna shift the angles. So as I'm swinging towards my garage door, I pretty much stayed in this position. It's like the ball of my foot is still firmly on the ground and it's fully planted. That keeps my back hip hinged, where I'm not able to fully open up. So it was more of, instead of just coming through to here, is being more able to come all the way through and rotate my hips all the way through, where my foot would either be at 12 o'clock or even beyond 12 o'clock. And it's just a pivot point where I'm able to actually turn and open my hips all the way. And as I'm turning and opening all the way, where all my weight was supposed to be on my left heel, on my follow through. So you can see that pretty obviously as well. All right, so on to my second to last item that my instructor found. It was a very busy session. So again, I have more of the athletic stance of kind of normal sports, where my feet are kind of shoulder width, a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, and then kind of just squat down to get into your athletic stance, where then I can then do whatever I need to, right? So that's baseball, ground ball, being able to turn, whatever you need to do, right? So what that was making me do was, I was then squatting down, and this was pretty much my address to the ball. I was squatting more than I needed to, my shoulders were really rounded over, and then I was getting into my swing. So the instructor basically said, so knees straighten out, shoulders back, back and hips together, hinge at the hips, hips go back, knees have a moderate bend, not much of one, and back is flat. And then hinge at the hips for whatever length club that I have. So a driver can definitely be more upright. 60-degree wedge, be more over. So that was able to alleviate some of the bend that I have here and have more proper weight distribution and better balance as I come through. All right, and the final thing that the instructor gave me to work on was my right elbow in my backswing and then starting into my downswing, my foreswing. So again, former baseball player. So if I'm here, some baseball players are told, hit the elbow up in the back. That helps you go from like a point A to point C swing, swing diagonally down instead of dropping the shoulder and then swinging up at the ball. Anyways, so I was coming from here. This is my normal batting stance in baseball, And then we'll be able to go through and just chop down on the ball. Issue was going into the golf swing now. So if I'm playing golf, as I would take the club away, I get to the top of my backswing, see where this back elbow is? This back elbow was way the heck up here. And again, that's because if I just change where I'm looking from here to now looking at the picture, my elbow doesn't really have to change much. It's just the natural, what I'm used to in comfortable position. So going from there, from here, needed to tuck this elbow down. So admittedly, I'm not very good at this yet because it still feels extremely awkward, but move this out of the way, being able to take the club away, keeping my left elbow down so that I get up to here, I can start that transfer and then come through the ball and then actually get to rotate. I'm really not sure like what my elbow being up does. It kind of makes my shoulder have to drop, I think, in the back. I think that's more what it is. So if I'm up here, as I'm coming down, my right shoulder, my back shoulder starts to drop as I attack the ball. Versus if I'm here, then it's more control in the wrist, and I can come more down at a hitting down the ball angle, I guess. Yeah, so that's kind of what I learned on my first golf lesson. There's a lot of things going on in a relatively short lesson. After I warmed up, the instructor pretty much said, "Cool, stop there. We got to rebuild and reteach you how to swing a golf club," because I guess I never knew how to properly swing a golf club. All in all, I've noticed from the one range day that I've had outside of the lesson, my swing feels like I'm hitting better contact. I do think that I've gained a little bit of distance with each club because instead of swinging here and then shoulders coming through and I'm basically increasing the loft of the club, I'm now able to stay down and closing the club head face just a tad. So I'm gaining a little bit of distance doing that. Need consistency, need practice, need lots of it. If I'm ever gonna play against my brother and beat him on a hole, not a whole day, just one hole, I got a lot of work to do and a lot of practice. So cheers.